Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to continue this talk on Noble Eightfold Path. Yesterday we spoke on right speech. Today I like to start talking on right action. Right action we find in the 5 precepts and you see, Noble Eightfold Path is divided into several groups. When we take right action, there are 3 in right action, and taken 1 from right speech, and 1 is somewhere else, not directly from the Noble Eightfold Path, but it is implied in the right livelihood. The 3 taken from the right, from the 5 precepts are, from the Noble Eightfold Path, killing, stealing, sexual or sensual misconduct. These 3 are bodily actions. And then 1 is taken from right speech, that is abstaining from telling lies. And 1 from right livelihood, it is implied though, is abstaining from intoxicants. These are the 5 precepts. These are the 5 precepts that are recited like mantra all over Theravada Buddhist countries. Morning, evening, lunchtime, and at political rallies, and in funeral, and entering housewarming, and wedding, and every occasion. Take these 5. These called 5 precepts. Then we have 8 lifetime precepts. In the 8 lifetime precepts we have 3 taken from the right action, 4 from right speech, there are only 4 in right speech, 3 in right action, and 1 right livelihood. Directly all the 3 categories of morality is taken from the Noble Eightfold Path. And that is what is called lifetime precepts. So lifetime precepts are not taken something out of the Noble Eightfold Path. They are right inside the Noble Eightfold Path. That is called the category or aggregate of sila, morality. Then there is another 8 precepts called monastic 8 precepts. there are 3 bodily action with change. That is the third bodily action called sexual or sensual misconduct is replaced by incelibacy. 3, and then out of 4 right speech taken 1, that is abstaining from lying. So now we have 4. And then we take 1 there are not in the Noble Eightfold Path abstaining from taking meals at inappropriate time. 5. Then using perfume, garland, visiting theatrical shows, participating in music, dancing and so forth. Now that is 6. 7 is what is then not eating a tortoise and 5, this is 6. 7 is using, that's the last one actually. What I am missing? Pranatipada, Adinnadana, Abramjarya, Musavada, Suraha, abstaining from taking intoxicating. Number 5. Number 6 is abstaining from taking meals at inappropriate time. Number 6. Number 7 is abstaining from singing, dancing, using bodily decorations, makeup and all this. 8 is abstaining from using luxurious beds and seats. These are 8 precepts. The major part of the 8 monastic precepts also are taken from the Noble Eightfold Path. There is another category called 10 monastic precepts, 10 novice precepts. 10 novice precepts are the same 10 monastic precepts, but the 7th precept is broken into 2. One is, first part is abstaining from singing, dancing, music, and visiting theatrical shows is one precept that has very clear meaning. And the other part is using perfumes, garlands, makeup, and the bodily decoration. So now we have 9. 10th is not using gold and silver which can be converted into money. That means using money. That is the 10 novice precepts. See, all of them are taken, most of them are taken from the Noble Eightfold Path. And the Noble Eightfold Path also divided into 3 what you call aggregates. Aggregates of morality, aggregates of concentration, and aggregates of wisdom. Aggregates of sila, morality, is right speech, right action, right livelihood. Aggregate of samadhi or concentration is right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Aggregate of wisdom is right understanding and right thought, right intention. So, you sometimes come across these divisions in various places, but all of them are within the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, right action. In fact, if anybody interested in developing the mind, at least bare minimum they should practice are the 5 precepts. 5 precepts. Not very much, only 5. And sometimes those who undertake to observe the 5 precepts find it extremely difficult. But they point their finger at someone who has undertaken more than 5. Like monastics have 10 precepts, so 220 precepts, 27 precepts, so 320 precepts and so forth. They point finger at them, whereas they cannot observe even the 5 precepts. So this is our nature. What are the 5 precepts as I mentioned already? Everybody knows. Is there anybody who does not know 5 precepts? Seems to be very good. Everybody knows it. Remember, even in silence you can tell lies. Yes? In silence you can tell lies. So, anyway, I don't want to embarrass you. I spell them out very quickly, extending from feeling, staying, sexual or sensual misconduct, lying and taking intoxicants. These are the 5 precepts. Now, any lay person living a household life can observe these precepts. And that is the basic requirement for somebody to practice meditation, to gain some tangible result. Only 5 precepts. We don't have to observe all the precepts, only 5. Now, one of the first precepts is killing. Abstaining from killing. When we talk about it, people can ask zillions of questions about killing. And they also try to tie it with eating meat. And then they assume that if we are going to observe the 5 precepts and become Buddhist or follow Buddhist principles, then we must be vegetarians. That is the general assumption among many people who are not very familiar with the whole system. I like to say only very few words about this. I don't want to get into long discussion. You may, if there are any, you can write in the question time. Because since this question comes again and again, I think it is not inappropriate for me to mention it right away. We don't have to kill. You don't have to kill yourself to eat meat. People find meat in supermarkets and then they buy and eat. Then the question comes, is it not indirectly supporting killing? Because we eat, they kill. It's a question of supply and demand. We demand, they supply. So if we don't demand, they don't supply. And therefore, so you conclude logically, since we eat, they kill. But actually when we look at it, whether you are vegetarian or non-vegetarians, people kill. When they go to wars, it doesn't matter whether they are vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Sometimes there is a conscription in some situations. People, maybe all vegetarians, might be conscribed, drafted to the army, and they are sent to the battlefield and they kill. Maybe even against their will. So the killing is there, even they are vegetarians. On the other hand, even to produce vegetables, fruits, nuts, grains, and so on, farmers kill in the process of growing vegetables. And the vegetarians with good conscience can sit home and eat vegetables, thinking that they have not participated in killing. Right? But behind their thinking, or without their awareness, the farmers have killed various types of animals, insects, worms, snakes, rabbits, raccoons, deer, big animals, small animals in the process of growing. So somebody who wants to live ethical, moral life observing the 5 precepts will question this. On the other hand, emotionally, there is not very much difference between vegetarians and non-vegetarians. Vegetarians can get angry very quickly. I mean, they don't need any reason, just angry. Pure vegetarians. And when vegetarians get angry, their punch is as strong as non-vegetarian punch. No difference. Their harsh words can, go into the very marrow of your bone. Just like non-vegetarian words. The thought of hate of non-vegetarians can stay as strongly as non-vegetarians hate. There was a cartoon one day I saw, I think when I went to France, when we come out of the airport and going down on steps, big cartoon. There was a chicken and someone was sharpening knife. I think he was Hitler. Hitler was sharpening knife. So 2 chickens were there. One chicken said, "Oh, Gori, he's a vegetarian." So that actually tells us the problem with this very strong emotional sentiment. So killing involves, killing requires intent. Killing requires knowledge that this is a living being. Killing requires planning, plotting, finding a way to kill. And killing requires carrying out the plan. So there are 5 conditions required to complete killing. 1, that there has to be a living being. 2, a method. 3, planning, employing that method, using that method. 4, intention. And 5, completing all this. You got to complete. You may have intention, but if you don't execute the rest of the things, your complete is not complete. Your killing is not complete. So you have to have an intention. You have to know that this is a living being. Then you have to have an intention. Then you have a method. You employ that method, use that method, and then finally kill. And somebody who is eating meat doesn't have this. However, on the other hand, if people do not eat meat, perhaps there will not be animals raised in farms. Animal farms, people raise animals or eggs only for killing. That might stop. But farmers killing will be going on. However, when we do not kill, we will become really, truly harmless practitioners of loving friendliness. Abstaining from killing is one thing, that is not the whole story. On the other hand, we must practice loving friendliness. Wish all living beings live in full lifespan. Let them live their full lifespan. That wish we can make, and we can practice metta without having any guilt feeling if we do not kill. Then second is stealing. We have discussed it several times in the past. Meaning something not taking, that is not given to us. That is a very noble idea for us to maintain our honor, dignity and respect for others' property. Whatever others have, we respect. In that, if there is a community where nobody steals anything, the community will trust each other. Sometimes we see in such wonderful communities, some farmers put large amount of produce in spring with a box called honor box. So the people take whatever they want and put money into the honor box. So the farmer trusts people. If people steal and becomes dishonest, in the evening when the farmer comes, there won't be any produce in his bucket or in his place, and box also would be gone. There will not even be the box there, let alone money, if people are dishonest. So, then precept against sexual misconduct include, there may be many, but some are included, raping, manipulating someone into having sex against their wish, sex with minors, animals, someone's spouse, or someone protected by parents, guardians. It also includes breaking trust in relationship. These are some of the implications in sexual misconduct. That has become sometimes very, very difficult. People have very big disharmony, distrust, and so forth. Then, when we avoid sexual misconduct, troublesome lust can be abated. Then, of course, sexual relationship with one's own spouse, partners, is not considered to be misconduct. So, then the other sensual misconduct. Sensual misconduct is abusing our senses. I think that is the easiest thing that we violate, sensual misconduct. That means we abuse our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. How we abuse them? We keep watching, seeing various things that always disturb our mind. But people enjoy abusing their senses. Although the things they watch and see naturally disturb their mind, they will not be able to gain concentration, mind will be distracted, and mind will be agitated, excited, and cannot have peace. And yet, people enjoy it, and that is abuse. We abuse our ears the same way, and the easiest door or organ or sense to abuse is our tongue. We abuse tongue in saying things and eating things and drinking. When we eat and abuse our tongue by eating because of the taste, we know what happens to us when we abuse our tongue. Eating junk and make us sick, and lot of problems. When we speak, as I mentioned yesterday, incorrectly, we can create enemies, we can get into a lot of problems by breaking the precept of verbal, four kinds of verbal precept, fourfold verbal precept. That is abuse. And the nose, we abuse the nose sometimes. Sometimes children abuse it. And how they abuse? They don't have much money to buy, drugs and drinks and so forth. They go to hardware stores sometimes, and they sniff pain thinners. Sometimes at home they have pain thinners. Pain thinner, when they sniff, they get a kick. In order to get this kick, they sniff pain thinner. I have read in newspapers and heard some children even die when they sniff pain thinner, because that is not good, that is poisonous. So that's how they abuse their sense, and so forth. And another way we abuse our tongue is taking intoxicants, alcohol. We all know alcoholics cause a lot of harm to themselves as well as to the society. We all know that, and that's as a precept. If people observe this principle, they can save their life and save life of others, save their marriages, save their jobs, save their friends, save their wealth, and lot of things they can save. Above all, they can save their peace, live a peaceful life. I don't have to give a long lecture on how problematic it is when people are alcoholic. So that one must abstain from. Then right speech, right action, killing, stealing, and sensual misconduct. These three right actions. So next I want to speak on today is right livelihood. Right livelihood is another very important topic. There are two categories of right livelihood. One category is for lay people. There is another category for the monastic. For lay people, selling and buying weapons is considered to be wrong livelihood. Selling and buying poison is wrong livelihood. Selling and buying human beings is wrong livelihood. And then cheating in business. Anybody can practice, anybody can do business. But we all know people do business to live. They expect, all of us expect them to have profit in order for them to pay their bills. But if they cheat in business, that is a wrong livelihood. And lay people are supposed to do business. There is another, for the monastic, another set of rules for monastics. Monastics should not scheming in a very unwholesome way to gain something from people for their comfort and their pleasure. Scheming. And then talking directly, demanding, I need this, I need that, and so on. That is not allowed for monastic. It is breaking rule. Then indirectly hinting, I wish I had a good iPad. in front of very good, generous person. He doesn't ask him directly. He might, very politely mention it. Hinting. I use iPad, because it is a common thing these days. In the Buddha's time there were no iPads. They might have mentioned something else. But instead of, because asking directly is not permissible, and therefore hinting. Then belittling. That is, when somebody offers something to a monastic, he would say, well, there are better things in the market. So he doesn't appreciate what he got. And the person who gave it to him will be very hurt, very deeply hurt. Because this monastic expresses his or her greed, craving, demanding. And the person not only gets hurt, but even he even would be very disappointed with the monastic. Perhaps he might not come to the monastery anymore. Then, pursuing gain with gain. Pursuing gain with gain. You gain something and after a while you might say, the one you gave last time was very good. I wish I had another one of that. So you make this person feel guilty. So he will come, we will get another one for you. And all these are wrong livelihood. Ways of doing wrong things or doing what they call practicing wrong livelihood for monastic. So, our means of sustenance should not interfere with our spiritual practice. That means when we emphasize our material things, material gains, we will neglect our spiritual practice. We always keep thinking about what to gain. So that is considered to be unwholesome. Then lay people when they get a job, they must very carefully inquire, very skillfully, the kind of job they get. Of course, this applies to a society where there are a lot of jobs. If there is in a situation in a country where there are no jobs, only one kind of job is available, then you have no choice. You have to get the job. If you can make a choice, you ask first, you examine whether a job is inherently harmful to others or to yourself. When you do the job, that job has some connection with harming you or your other people. For instance, you work on a job which causes lung cancer. Sometimes in a coal mine, a factory where there are a lot of fumes, smoke, toxic waste, inhaling, touching your skin can cause cancer. So you have to study the health safety in that place and find out whether or not there are some safety measures. If not, I think it is very good for you not to accept that job. You risk your life. Perhaps if you are the only breadwinner, you may risk your family members as well. Or when you undertake a job, end product of the job goes to the consumers, and consumers will be sick. Your end product can cause sickness to the consumers. Or your job can destroy the environment. Destroying fish, birds, animals that eat grass, or the fruits and nuts on which some animals live. If the job destroys these things, we have to be very, very careful not to pursue that job, not to accept it. If possible, complain and change that kind of environment, job situation. And then you have to, secondly, at second level, when we undertake a job, you ask yourself, does this job cause me to break my precepts? is this job going to cause, going to make me break my 5 precepts? Do I have to lie when I do this job? Is there some way that job encourage me to steal? Does this job force me to kill or cheat? Like that we must ask ourselves, if this job is going to cause breaking the 5 precepts. And thirdly, you must ask, is this job going to create some mental disturbance? Does it cause harm to my mind, my balance of mind? When we consider these things, if they are causing harm to others and causing to break your precept and causing to have ill mental health, disturbance, confusion, and sometimes you can go crazy when you do that kind of job. So we have to think about them very carefully and don't accept. And then when you undertake a job, you ask yourself, is this job going to help me to improve my living friendliness, my compassion? I think this is a very good job for me. Not only earn my living, but also I can use this job situation to cultivate my loving friendliness, metta, my compassion. I think such jobs we all know, like working in hospitals in any capacity, working in hospitals and hospitals, animal hospitals, and sometimes even doing some job in prisons, like that, or doing social service. These are wonderful jobs to cultivate our metta, our compassion, and while helping other people. So, and ask yourself, if you lack harmful intention, your mind will not be harmed by the jobs. There will not be any harm to you because of the adverse consequence of the job, because your intention is very good. Sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, when there are jobs, that's the only job available in a certain situation. You know the job is not very, very wholesome, and yet in order for you to survive, to maintain your family, reluctantly you accept the job and do your best with good intention. Indirectly, the job may be related to various harmful things. Forcing people's health, in sometimes even hurting hurting people even physically, sometimes inadvertently, and still taking all these precautions and risk with good intention, we accept that job. And also we have to always think how much time I will have to practice my meditation. If the job requires every ounce of my energy, and there is no more energy when I go home, I will be already dead tired. I cannot do any meditation practice. I think it is better to avoid that kind of overworking job, the work that requires your overworking, overtime work. So, and then, although rarely emphasized, skillful effort is essential to seek proper job. And you can make great progress in your spiritual practice. Then I like to go to right effort. Since we don't have much time to discuss the entire Noble Eightfold Path, today I want to go little overboard, little overtime. Although you don't work overtime too. But in this situation, I don't mind doing little working overtime. Skillful effort. Skillful effort belongs to the category of right concentration. I mentioned several times that there are three factors in the Noble Eightfold Path. We must remember these three factors. What are the very important factors? What are they? Number one, right? What? Understanding. Right understanding. Friends, without right understanding, you can never make any progress in anything, whether it is secular or spiritual. Understand. And it is much more useful and meaningful if the understanding is right understanding. So, number two is right effort. Right effort. With right understanding and right effort, you practice mindfulness. Then these three factors, right understanding, right effort, right mindfulness. So, these three factors go in circle of all the steps of Noble Eightfold Path. So right effort has 4 parts, we all know. And these 4 parts can apply whether you are doing something secular or spiritual, whether you are practicing meditation or cooking in the kitchen. You practice these 4. Since I am not cooking now, I don't want to bring any example from cooking. If you come to the kitchen when I cook, I tell you, how to apply these four in the kitchen. Here, I like to apply them, tell you how to apply them in our meditation practice. First is, when you sit to meditate, you certainly will sit in meditation with very, very good intention. And you want to maintain that intention. That is one effort. Effort to prevent. When you maintain a good intention, you prevent a wrong intention. You prevent wrong thought. Wrong intention means wrong thought. Intention is used here in English translation, but Pali word is sankappa. Sankappa means thought, thinking. So you come to meditation with good thinking. You stay with that. Then unwholesome thinking can arise. Unwholesome thought can arise. Your intention was not to have unwholesome thought. But when you sit to meditate, unwholesome thought can arise because it is also in our mind. Habitually it can arise. When it arises, make effort to get rid of this unwholesome thought. What are the unwholesome thoughts? You can get angry, you can get resentment, you can get hating something, or you can be irritated when somebody sneeze or blow nose or cough or move the cushion here and there, making disturbance. You can get irritated. Any time a little thing can irritate. These are unwholesome thoughts. Unwholesome thoughts. So we make very strong effort to let it go. Practice metta. Towards that sound, the one who made the sound, practice metta. You have to think of many ways to practice metta. As you practice metta, your resentment will slowly fade away. Then you feel very, very peaceful, comfortable, relaxed. And then you think, this is what I should cultivate. That is the wholesome mental state. What is the thought, eros that you like to cultivate? Patience, mindfulness, friendliness, compassion. All these can rush into your mind with the negative state made worse. And cultivate those wholesome. That is the method. And then don't lose them. Maintain these wholesome thoughts. Sustain them in your mind. You can stay in that thought perhaps the entire time you meditate. So these are fourfold right effort. Effort to prevent unwholesome mental state. Whenever we say unwholesome mental state, we mean all negative thoughts. Not only 1, 2, 3 listed in certain categories like hindrances, fetters and so on. Besides that, there can be many, many negative thoughts. Any negative thought is considered to be unwholesome, unprofitable, harmful mental state. So don't look for any particular kind of unwholesome thought. Any thought harmful to you is unwholesome thought. And then when you got rid of it, what arises is a wholesome thought. Among wholesome thought also, there are many, many kinds of wholesome thought. Any of them can arise. Patience can arise, compassion can arise, understanding can arise, friendliness can arise, generosity can arise, any number of good thoughts. And so, not only hindrances, greed and dullness and so forth, all unwholesome thoughts are unwholesome. Then, we use various means to overcome them, and we make firm effort to maintain it until your practice will become very comfortable. Among categories, there are two main categories. Category of hindrances, there are 5. Category of fetters, there are 10. You don't have to worry about which category belongs which. It doesn't matter at this stage. Then, that is right effort. Then we have right mindfulness. I think I can stop here. Because if I go into right mindfulness, I will lose my mindfulness. Now I'm tired. Therefore I stop here and continue tomorrow. Okay?